Hello again, listeners, and okay, this is take 2. Take 3. Naked Coach Collective podcast, take 3. Hello, listeners. Welcome to another episode of the Naked Coach Collective podcast. Stop smirking behind your hand, Ian.
You're being really serious now. How did we do?
Right. Welcome to another episode of the Naked Coach Collective podcast. You are here today with B and Ian.
I'm so sorry.
She does
Right,
it
I
so
feel like
well.
I've gone. I feel like I've gone. Like anything will set me off now. It's one of those ones. Take 5.
Okay. The Naked Coach Collective, take episode 30, episode 40,
39.
episode
39.
39, episode 39, take 155. Right, we gotta go. Hello, listeners, and welcome to another episode of the Naked Coach Collective podcast. Today we have the lovely B and not so lovely Ian because he's been last
Oh,
week.
that's mean.
So we've been taking. That's why we take 159.
That's very mean.
Today's podcast is all about your vision, and not the vision.
Something I
Not the
nearly
vision.
didn't have when I joined earlier tonight because I couldn't find my glasses.
Right? Yes, not quite.
Not that vision though.
So we're talking about vision, and in coaching, and if you're in the world of coaching, which you probably are, if you're watching and listening to this podcast, you have heard vision flying around since day dot. So we're going to explore this subject a little bit further today. And I think I'd like to invite B to get us started because she's just looking so bright and cheerful and wonderful today. So
Thank you. Yeah, I think you're right. Vision is something that is talked about so much in coaching. And a lot of people just associate vision with just images. Yeah, whether they're physical sort of like images on a vision board or whether they're images in your head. But actually, the one thing about a vision is the way to really bring it alive, I think, is to use all of your senses and not just use your imagination or physical pictures. It's actually to close your eyes and feel like where you are. So smell it. What smells are around you? What's hitting you? If one of your visions, say, is living by the sea, can you smell the waves, the ocean, the salt? All of those kinds of things. And I think sounds. What are you hearing? This vision that you want. What are the sounds that you're hearing? Is it bird song? Is it just peace? And then what are you tasting? So if you are looking maybe to move to another country, because a lot of people have visions about moving to another country, what food are you eating? What does it taste like? And I think when you actually do a full session on the vision and you go really deeply into vision and you use all your senses, that's when it gets really real, really exciting. And that's when you start to really believe in that vision and believe that you can actually achieve it. So it's not just imagining a picture in your head. It's actually being there in every sense of the way, even down to what you're wearing. Because if it's like somewhere hot or somewhere cold, you'll be wearing, possibly different things. And I think when you try and bring a vision alive like that, you're far more likely to remember it, keep it, and work towards it. There you go. There's a little bit of a take on it.
lovely. So I'm thinking that all of that is so fantastic because as soon as you start introducing all your senses into what you have this vision, what this vision you created, it is going to make it more alive, more real, tangible, achievable, all those things. So I'm thinking the step before then, the creation of the vision. So I love the way that you have almost sort of wrapped up your vision into something that you can really use in your life, because it's incorporating your values maybe, or, your beliefs even, and all of that. So maybe I'll move on to Ian and just say, Ian, what about the step before? Once you've got that vision in your head and using all your senses, what's the step before then in your vision creation?
Yeah, do you mean in terms of how to create that vision? Like tools that you can use to create it? What's
Yeah,
the question there, Dee?
even you are going to be a right pain today, aren't you? I can tell.
It's about the quality of the questions.
The question, Ian, is
Dee, if he gets too bad, just mute him.
yeah, I will mute him because I'm in charge today. Right, okay.
Yep.
How do you create a vision that represents your own values, your own strengths, your own person, your own goals?
Yeah, so I think it's important to understand as well when you're creating your vision. Kind of a first step is to understand that you're creating it for the life that you would love to live, right? So, and there's going to be people who start thinking about a vision and what they want and all this kind of thing, but they're going to be constrained by what they believe is possible, what they currently believe is possible. So it's about understanding that forget what you think is possible. Forget what you think your limitations are. Forget what you think society's limitations are for you. It's not about the circumstances of your current situation. Everyone's got that kind of power within to be able to bring these visions and dreams into fruition. And I mean that in terms of actually getting that dream as well. So when you're going through the process of creating a vision, you want to try and understand that you don't want to be putting limitations on yourself. This is about what would you do if you could not fail? Those kind of questions.
Yeah.
But there's a good tool to use. What you want to do is trying to get into a state of gratitude. So you're starting out by taking some kind of deep breaths and getting your energy into a zone of gratitude for whatever it is that you have in your life and your current circumstances. And that kind of aligns your energy with the state of getting into a vision and getting that picture initially in your head. And you want to try and draw out that picture in your head, like you were saying, be as specifically as you possibly can. And there's a good tool to use. It's called, I don't know what it's called. It's like a time machine tool. It's essentially think 3 years from now. 3 years from now, what would you love to be doing in whatever area of your life it is? So whether that's your health and wellness, your relationships, love and relationships, your vocation, so your job, all that kind of stuff, or your kind of time and money freedom. What would you love to be doing within 3 years' time? But you need to make sure that you're living it as if it was now. Not, this is what I want in 3 years' time. Get into that state of being in 3 years. So you want to, I mean, and you can start this conversation as, so Dee, we'll just go through it now quickly. So Dee, imagine it's 3 years from now. You want to maybe close your eyes at this point as well if you're doing this at home or whatever. Just try and help stop any distractions around you. 3 years from now, we're having a conversation in 3 years' time. Think of it in that moment and start that conversation with, holy shit, Ian, I've had the best 3 years of my life.
Yeah,
Let me tell you what I've done.
Yeah.
And then just kind of carry on that conversation.
Yeah.
So that's a good way to start getting into the thought process of what you would do to create that vision.
So
and
is
that
there
dream. Does that
a,
answer your question, Dee? Sorry.
it's beginning to, is there a reason for 3 years?
Yeah, so if you were to do it as, say, 1 year, your brain will be kind of fighting against that 1 year because it will think, well, you didn't do that 1 year ago, so what makes you think you can do it now?
Okay.
And so if you do it for 3 years from now, your brain doesn't know how to get there, so that's fine. It's about knowing where it's going, and it's not got that limitation of 1 year. Oh, it's too soon, you can't do that in 1 year. You didn't do it last year, why do you think you can do it now? So it kind of takes away that time element of the kind of brain subconsciously pushing back on you to say you can't do that in that time frame.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And also, like 5 or 10 years is like a lot for people who are not thinking in a business sense as well, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
can I just clarify something? So, vision, dream, the language, interchangeable completely, or is there any kind of differences?
I think it's interchangeable.
Hmm.
Whatever you want to label it is fine.
Okay. So, what's the difference between your vision and a goal?
I see vision as more it like what I just said. When you take vision, it's about getting emotionally excited about something. Okay, so adding all the aspects in that I just spoke about earlier brings that emotional excitement. I think goals are very much factual based. And what I mean by that is they're driven by, okay, so, this is what I'm doing. Goals tend to be more business based, I think. That you can have, obviously, got personal goals if you're if you're going to do training or lose weight or whatever. But I think goals for me feel quite matter of fact, I think is what I want to say. Whereas vision for me feels, because I'm an emotional person and I am driven by my emotions a lot, it feels much more exciting to me. A vision feels much more exciting than a goal. But that could be just the way I am built. I think someone who has a head for wanting to know detail in everything, goals are probably more interesting to them than the vision. So I think it very much depends on the kind of person you are, and how you, um, when I went on, when I've done my speaking courses, there's like 4 personalities. You've got a spade, a club, a heart, and a diamond. And so one is very detail orientated. One is very emotional orientated. One is a very sort of has to do things like right now, but very much driven by outcome, and the other one is sort of still got the emotional aspect, but is very creative. So I think, those 4 personalities are quite true of people. And I think depending on your personality depends on whether a vision is exciting or whether a goal's exciting.
Interesting. Okay.
That's
I
how
like
it
that.
feels for me, but it's not going to be the same thing, but it's how it feels for me.
I mean, I totally get where you're coming from. I think about it in a different way. I thought my vision is the overall overarching umbrella goal thing, and an umbrella, not goal. So the vision goes up at the top there, and the goals are the steps that I take towards reaching that vision. That's how I was sort of thinking about it. Ian, your thoughts?
Along similar lines as yourself, Dee, in that the vision is the bigger picture. It's the kind of why you're doing it, and the goals for me are kind of like milestones of achievement along the way to that vision.
Yeah, because your vision is I think, because we've done a lot of dream building, and 2 weeks ago, listeners, 2 weeks episode 37, Ian talks a lot about his dream building. So go and check that out if you haven't already. But in that, there's a lot of work around making this vision, this dream, not unattainable, but you don't know how you're going to get there. So like you touched on earlier, Ian, that was a really interesting point with your vision, whereas your goals, you're working, you have a step-by-step plan to how you're going to achieve your goals, whereas your vision is that little bit more special, isn't it? It's just that when you've worked that much harder on to really figure out what it is. Okay, so I was just thinking about the coaches, because we have a lot of coaches who listen, and the coaches, a lot of them are starting out, and they're
Sorry,
in
Dee, 1 second.
Yeah.
People listen to this. It's not
Well,
just us.
well, one or two. One or two. So when I say a lot, that means sort of 1.5, 1.5 hours.
Are we the coaches that listen to this?
That's why. So those two, one and
Sorry,
a half.
go on.
You made me lose my train of thought. Ian, I knew he was going to be trouble today, B.
Yes.
Honestly,
He's like the naughty child tonight, isn't he?
he's usually the granddad. I don't think it's Ribena in that cup of yours, is it?
No,
You've
I
got
think it's
something
something
else
else.
instead,
No,
isn't
it's
it?
Ditto. Hate
Is it?
Ribena.
Right, what was my question?
I don't
Oh,
know
yeah.
what you're waffling on
You,
about.
oh, I'm muting you. Where's your mute button?
You were talking about coaches watching this.
Right, coaches watching.
Something.
Right, coaches watching. So, you train as a coach, you get accredited, you start to find some clients. But what you're not realizing is that potentially from a business perspective, you are actually creating a business as well. And a business would do really well to have a vision statement.
Really?
So what do you put in your vision statement? What do you put in your vision statement for your business, but also from a personal perspective within your business?
Well, the vision statement for your business is the ultimate of what you want it to be. Now, as a coach, that can be many things, as we know. I mean, it can be a business that ultimately, when you reach the point of success, and I think that's what it is. The vision statement is what you perceive as your success for the business, isn't it? So that success for one coach will look very differently to another coach. So someone's success, for instance, might be they only want to coach and they want to give up their job and this be their only means of income. For other people, they're quite happy to coach part-time and have a job part-time. And it could be they equally love both, but they're two different things. So they get the best of both worlds. It could, and I think that's what it is. It's the overriding vision. Is it a coaching business? Is it a coaching and speaking business? Is it a coaching group only business? Is it a non-front coach? So someone who doesn't do anything other than create courses. There's so many ways you could take a coaching business.
So the vision you're talking about is your business vision, isn't it? It's your where you want your business to go. Yeah. Totally agree. Yes, absolutely. You need to know what you want out of your business, and that forms part of your vision statement, perhaps. Would you also say that your own personal values, what you bring into your coaching business, your own strengths would form part of your vision statement?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also what you'll the vision of your business, the success isn't just around what you do as a business or how that business forms. It's also about whether it's got to come down to income as well, hasn't it? What do you want to earn out of the business? Because actually, I remember being on a call when we were training as coaches with somebody who actually was retired, had money in the bank, had done their whatever route to get to where they were, and actually were just going to volunteer their time as a coach to help in the inner city with children to help stop them getting into gangs and things. So everybody's, see what I mean? So it's not just about the vision, it's about you personally as well, about what you want out of it. So the two have to align. And I think they do, because once you know which way you want your coaching business to go, and you may not know straight away, because when you train as a coach, you're training essentially to do one-on-one coaching. That's your first sort of part of training. And as you go along and you try different things, you'll find your way of what you want it to be. But then what you've got to do is marry that with your values of what you believe in and also what you want to earn from it or not, as the case may be.
I mean, look, I mean, my vision statement, I haven't set it in stone as this, but it includes things like my own personal drive, what I want out of my own business for myself in terms of my personal growth, as well as creating something that has a legacy, and all of that tied up in how I can help people, and that's the kind of stuff that's in what I would loosely term my vision statement, because I haven't actually sort of thought, okay, this is actually my vision statement, but I do know all of those things exist within what I want. So
I think I'm in these stages where I've tried a few different things in the coaching realm, and I think at the moment I know more of what I definitely don't want to do, rather than I'm not quite at where I have my vision. It's sitting behind me on a board, and that doesn't change for me, because forever I've wanted to live in Greece, forever, and I know that's not going to change. So that's still behind me, but I think what I do to get there, or what I do when I'm out there, is starting to change, given that I've tried various different things. So I'm just not there with, I'm there with living abroad. I'm there with the kind of way I want my life to be when I'm out there, but I'm not sure exactly how that's going to fit in with what I'm doing at the moment.
yeah, like we were saying earlier, you've got your vision, but you just don't know quite how to get there.
Yeah.
So, okay, as coaches, you've got a client who is completely unsure of how they are going to. They don't know what they want. Yeah, so I've had clients sit in front of me and say, "Look, I'm unhappy, but I don't really know why. I don't really know what would make me happy. I don't really know what my next steps are, because right now something's not working, but I can't put my finger on it." Right, and that happens, doesn't it? It happens quite a lot. People come to us and they just haven't got an idea at all where to go forward. So, would you jump straight in with them to do the work around building their vision, or would you start by maybe a few little changes, little tweaks, and little goals to get them the ball rolling first?
I think the starting point is exploration, because we can't even make tweaks or changes if we don't explore. And I think when you've got someone sitting in front of you who really has no idea, and it's a very basic coaching tool, but I think the Wheel of Life is really good for that first.
Yeah.
That's what I think, because actually, if they don't know, when you start scoring out of 10 areas of your life, you'll quickly start to realize where the problems are. That then helps you to probe deeper with the right questions in the right areas, and absolutely start by getting them to find what the small changes are that they can make now that would be realistic and helpful, and then go on to building the vision.
Lovely. Ian?
I think a lot of what you said is absolutely spot on, because a lot of what you long for comes from where your current discontent is. And so going through that exercise of the Wheel of Life, you're understanding where you're maybe not as happy in your life as you want to be, and then it's about, well, what would you want? What score do you want that to be? And when you're having those conversations as well, it's obviously you need to understand that. What am I trying to say? I don't even know. That's it. So if you're going through the Wheel of Life, say you're doing it on your own, so you've not got a coach, you're going through it on your own, and you're doing this as an exercise to see where you are in your current life. So those kind of 4 things I was saying earlier, but you can break it down even further than that. But for my example, it was the health and wellness, love and relationships, vocation, time and money freedom. Score yourself in each of those areas as to where you're currently happy, not what you think you should be, but what you currently are. 1 out of 10, as D said. As B said. But then ask yourself, well, what score do I want it to be, and what do I want in that area of my life? But what you might find yourself saying as you're going through that is, well, I don't want this, and I don't want that, and I don't want this. So it's important to make sure you say, okay, so what do I want? If I don't want this, what do I want? Always try and bring it back to that positive. But yeah, I think finding what your discontent is, understanding that discontent, and that can help you with what your longing is for, which then kind of starts to help you put that vision together. But yeah, absolutely, that wheel of life is, I mean, it's a tool for a reason, right? It does the job.
Yeah, it does. I get that as well. That understanding your discontent is a really valid point, because, you know, it's very much easier to focus on the things that you are unhappy with than thinking about what you really, really want. And we're almost programmed that way, aren't we? To moan and rather than to stand up and say, "No, you know what? I really do want to do this and have
Put it this way: it's harder to get people to leave a review, a good review. They're very quick to leave a review.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I wouldn't know. I definitely do.
Generally, as a person, you know, let's say someone goes on holiday and has a bad time, they're more likely to put they had a bad time than they are to think about putting a good review.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Absolutely.
No. And that's how we are with ourselves as well. You know, we focus on the negativity and rather than the positivity. So I think if my client was sitting there and sort of saying, I don't really know what's what, you know, I would definitely do as Ian says, you know, and start sort of making sure that they are pushing those negative thoughts, you know, acknowledging the negativity, but pushing it away, and then sort of saying, well, actually, this is what I really want to focus on. This is what I really want to do. This is really going to make my life better. So, and start going from that right now, where you are right now, to where you want to be. The classic statement. Yeah, lovely. Thank you for that very much indeed.
And I think it's also important to remember, vision doesn't have to be just for you. So, yeah. So what I mean by that is let's say that as a couple, you have a vision of, I don't know, travel, or you have a vision of working in another country, or, you know, actually there's so much power in having a joint vision for your future. If, you know, I mean, I think we all, in any relationship you're in, you should always be an individual within that relationship, right? You will always have your own, I believe. You always need your own interests. You need to spend time together and time apart, and you know, that's what makes it go around. But having a shared vision of, you know, where you want to end up in life, and working together towards that vision brings power to the vision. And it also helps when you hit the obstacles, because actually there's always one of you that's and it won't be the same person every time, but there'll always be one that, you know, one that goes, okay, we've hit this goal, you know, we've hit this obstacle, but that's okay, don't worry, because, you know, we can maybe look at this or maybe look at that, because we all think differently and we all have come up with different ideas. So don't look at vision as just a personal thing. It can be absolutely a personal thing, and it can be personal around anything, but it can also be a joint vision as well. And it doesn't necessarily need to be with your partner. It might be a joint vision that you have with someone at work, you know, where you want to say that you know, you've got a person above you, so a supervisor above you, and you have a joint vision together about what your future looks like, you know, a bit like a appraisal. And if you both see it the same way, then, you know, and they're a good supervisor, they'll help you achieve that vision. They'll see it with you. And I just think there's quite a lot of power in a joint vision if it's appropriate.
Yeah.
Lovely. Ian, you were going to say something.
I forgot.
I think B said it beautifully. It's done.
Well, I think it's nice to remember a vision is just like goals. you hit obstacles. It's ever changing. It's ever evolving, isn't it? I don't think a
Yeah.
vision ever stops.
No, and your vision is your, it could almost be your blueprint to how you live your life. You've got your vision, you've spent time thinking about it, creating it, and now you're making that a reality however it is. And so, the blueprint is quite a lot. It's language that again, I have definitely taken out of Ian's work. Yes, that's fine. I was just going to say, by the way, I've used some of you may or may not know, if you've listened to the previous episode, I have gone through Ian's Dream Builder program with him and as his guinea pig, and it infiltrates my whole life. In case you hadn't noticed. I even used it in one of my social media posts yesterday. So.
I
Did
it.
Yeah, I did. I wrote a poem and I put failure is feedback. It's in there, so failure is feedback. Anyway, that by the by, unconnected. Visions. Any last closing statements from our two beautiful visionaries and Ian?
Oh, well played. Touche.
For me, I'll say one last thing and then I'm going to be quiet. I may not fully have my vision, but I'm going to tell you what, for me, I've just thought about you saying about goals and making those the stepping stones to your vision. But actually, for me, when I think about vision, I think of a path. And I don't think of the path as goals. I think of each slab on that path as the step to the ultimate vision, which winds and then goes to an end point. And that's how I see vision, because that creates, for me, an exciting vision. If I had like a chart that's got step 1, step 2, I'm just like, oh God, it's a chart. But for me, because of my creative brain, seeing it as a pathway through a meadow, going towards a sunset maybe or whatever. Do you see what I mean? I have to create it like that.
I do. When you were talking there, I was thinking of, do you remember the scene in Greece where, is it Frankie Valli, who's beauty school dropout, and he's walking,
Yeah.
and the stairs, the light are lighting up as that just mind there.
But I do need that creativity to make it exciting for me. To see a chart with step 1, step 2, it just doesn't work for me.
No.
So that's me. That's how I interpret my personal vision.
How about our other visionary person tonight? What's your final thoughts before Ian gives his?
Right. Okay. So no, I mean, for me, it is. I think your vision is a holistic approach. It's all of you. It encompasses what your desires and dreams and wants and what you really want for your life is. But it also stems from your own personal beliefs and your own personal values, and because your vision is going to be made up of more than you. Well, my vision is made up of more than I know right now.
Good.
And so that is exciting, so not, if I didn't have the vision, I would be missing out on some excitement, because it's the reason I do things, even though I don't know exactly how it's going to end up and where it's going. It's just exciting, it's just, it's open. It's like, everything is open to take, try, create. Yeah.
Yep.
Ian,
I think for my kind of
not
Ian's
the
final
visionary.
thoughts, not the visionary of the group. I think one of my key takeaways for people as well is to kind of try and understand why you want what you want from that vision. So understand what the core values are behind that vision. And we've gone through in previous episodes how to get to your core values. So yeah, go back and listen to those. But I think it's really important to understand does your vision align to your core values and what those core values are? And that's how, as B, you were touching on earlier, you can align your vision for a business to your core values and that kind of thing as well. So I think that's really kind of key and really important to understand why, because that's ultimately going to help you keep going, because discontent and pain from wherever you are now will only get you so far. And the vision will kind of pull you the rest of the way.
Do you think doing that exercise of sort of matching your vision with your core values would identify if your vision's not right or your core values are not right? If I was just sort of thinking, what if your core values have got nothing to do with your vision when you do the work?
I think when you have your vision in your head and you ask, okay, so when I achieve this, what will it get for me? And then you come up with whatever that answer is. And then you ask yourself, when I achieve that, what will that get for me? And so you go through that process of discovering what your core values are. I mean, you might not know what your core values are, or you might think you know what your core values are, but they might actually not be what your core values actually are, because you've not gone deep enough.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's important to go as deep as you possibly can, and essentially just ask yourself why as many times as possible until you start kind of repeating yourself, and you'll start to get to your kind of core values.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you very much. Right. Right. I think that's a good place to call it a day. You have been
My
wonderful.
vision is we're coming to the end of this session.
And thank goodness.
Give me a minute.
Word.
Give me a minute. Oh, I've got one final thing to say. So this comes out on the 5th of November. Shut up, you. I am had enough of you tonight. I know what I was going to say.
You're going to say when your course comes out, because this comes out on the 5th, doesn't it?
So, sorry, yes. So
Episode is
this
released
comes
on the
out.
5th of November. Today is the 5th of. You're listening. Today's the 5th of November, or after that point, obviously.
Yeah.
Ian, please say your piece. Don't let.
Oh, thank you, Dee. Am I allowed to speak now?
Please.
Please continue. Okay.
You are.
On the 9th of November at 6:30 p.m. UK time, I'll be doing a live vision workshop to kind of give you free tools to use to start to put that vision in your head and start to draw it out of yourself. So come along to that. IanWhiteheadCoaching.com/dream builder. The link will be in the show notes. And yeah, please come along for that. And those free principles that you'll get, those free tools, you can start putting into practice now, that you can use to start creating your vision.
B, are you going to be there?
I will try and be there. I'm in my head. I'm thinking,
That's
when's
a no.
the 6th? That's my brain.
Whatever, Ian.
My brain's doing the
I've
time.
uninvited myself today, haven't I? Have I uninvited?
4th, 5th. Have you done it on Wednesday night, Ian?
No, so
The
Wednesday
9th of
night.
November, whenever that is.
Oh, the 9th. Sorry, I thought you said the 6th. I was going to say, if it's the Wednesday night, now you know I can't give up my Wednesday nights.
Tassels.
As if I would schedule anything on the 9th of
It's a Saturday.
November.
Saturday night. Are you working on a Saturday night then, Ian?
Of course.
And have I been cordially uninvited today then after today's
You've been
performance?
blocked.
You've been, yeah. You sign up for it, you just get abuse. You get no links to it. You'll just get links to it. Me sending videos of, I'm sick of you.
I'll see you there.
I know the live session, but will it be available on Catch Up at all or not?
It'll be available for those who have registered for 3 days, and then it'll come down. But I'll be hosting these once a month.
Perfect.
Thank you very much. Right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that episode. I hope that the editing makes it coherent.
I don't know. Yeah. What a shambles this is.
It'll make it ever so short.
Yeah, it bloody will.
Everybody, thank you for listening. It's been a real pleasure having you aboard today. Don't forget to check us out, be Ian and Dashna on our socials. If you want to get in touch with us, we'd love to hear from you. any comments. Keep them nice. We like nice comments. And until next time, everyone, be there.
Be there.
And be naked.
Mwah.